Marianne Goldweber, teacher, professional medium, and owner of a Village Personal and Spiritual Development Center. Coming to you live tonight from my video podcast called Marianne's House. And there's so much going on. And I first want to start by saying thank you to everyone who wished me a very happy birthday yesterday, and it was just lovely. This was a big one for me, and again, guys, we're always evolving, we're always leveling up, we're always reevaluating where we are at and what we do, and how we navigate to going forward. So that's I was drinking some pop. That's the process. So that brought me to kind of what I wanted to talk about tonight. Oh, see, these are my new birthday earrings. Aren't they pretty? Yeah, that's from my bestie. Oh, it was a wonderful day. So anyway, so tonight I wanted to talk about, I posted earlier today about the topic tonight. And the topic is about building on higher ground and having that safe place to observe from, that's our center, our hub, so that we can get a much better perspective about, other things that are going on. And so I wanted to share the meditation I got today, which was about the totem animal for this kind of thing is actually eagle. And so that's kind of where we start this at, especially with when we're facing what we're facing now. As we talked about in the last video, we're also entering the year of Fire Horse, which is all about action. And so that higher perspective, the Fire Horse is about tempered action, tempered power, and how we use that. And we want to be much more, strategic with it. So, because now it's time to less words, more action. So, but we don't want to be running out there with our hair on fire either. Fear is it doesn't make good choices. So I wanted to start with the teaching about eagle. And this actually comes from the Medicine Cards book by Jamie Sams. And this is a wonderful oracle. And it is really kind of where we are. Well, it is where we are right now. And another phrase that kept popping up was fighting fire with fire. So I'm going to unpack both those things tonight and leave you guys with this teaching so that, again, we all need to apply this stuff. And if you get, if you need a game plan or you need some clarity from your own stage crew, just give me a call. Let's schedule some time, because this is a wonderful time to really get a new perspective. And that's what this is, going higher, up to our higher ground, and we're going to start building from there. Okay? So that's the topic tonight. So let's see who's here. Oh, it's so nice to see you guys. Hi, Susan. Well, hi, Rudy. Thank you for the birthday wish. Hi, Denise, Jennifer, Sue. It's good to see you guys. Thanks for coming. Everyone else is going to start getting on here, but you guys can always re-watch this, and I also upload them to YouTube so that you can, see all the different topics that we have, and go through those, and you can listen to them anytime. They're all archived there. So again, the message the message has been to build higher, go higher. And it's not about avoiding this, it's about coming to a much higher perspective. So this is what the spiritual perspective does. It actually rises above all this human created stuff. So when we stand in these spiritual truths, okay, it allows us to discern things from a place of faith, not fear, okay? And it detaches us also from the energy of all the chaos, because things are propagating chaos and fear to keep people immobilized or to make them feel like they have no power or control. And that is not necessarily true. However, we also don't necessarily know how to get up higher because we feel like we're doing this alone. But I'm telling you, you're not. We have an entire stage crew of things that are inspiring you, but it can't get through the chatter of fear and panic that's going on. with all these very painful truths and awarenesses that are coming our way. So again, we're going to focus on the spiritual perspective, and that's going to give us solutions and options. Okay, so let's talk about eagle. So eagle is the most sacred animal they're all important and they're all messengers, but eagle represents that they fly high. They get higher than other animals can, and their vision is so acute that they can see things from way up in the sky that other animals can't get to or see. And so let's talk about that a little bit. So eagle medicine is the power of Great Spirit, the connection to the divine. It is the ability to live here and live in the realm of spirit, and yet remain connected and balanced within the realm of earth. Eagle soars, and it's quick to observe expansiveness within the overall pattern of life. From those heights of the clouds, eagle is close to the heavens where the Great Spirit dwells. The feathers of eagle are considered to be the most sacred of healing tools. They have been used for centuries by shamans to cleanse the auras of patients coming to them for healing. Within the belief system of indigenous tribes, eagle represents a state of grace achieved through hard work, understanding, and a completion of tests of initiation, which result in the taking of one's personal power. It is also thought that trial of experience, the lows in life as well as the highs, and through the trial of trusting one's connection to Great Spirit, that the right to use the essence of eagle medicine is earned. So that's something that you have to earn, okay? Now, so what we're facing right now is that's telling us so eagles also build their nests so high that no predator can reach it. Okay, that's where they have their young. That's their hub. That's the place they return to. And then they can go out into the world, but they always come back to that place. So it represents being in this higher place because it's between Great Spirit, Creator, God, and it's here, and then the earth and people and all those things are down below. So it's in that in-between place. So we can learn how to trust our own divine guidance. Plus, when we have experiences that lesser and greater that teach us our personal power, and that's what horse represents in the Chinese zodiac. Horse represents personal power. So that's what's being activated right now. So when we go higher, it allows us to see things from a much different perspective. So, for instance, spiritually looking at something and assessing what it is, what it needs, what we can do, it affords us this expansive perspective on solutions. Okay? Now, there's a very interesting other saying that came up, which fighting fire with fire. Now, that actually is a strategy when fighting forest fires. Okay? So, quite often, very strategic fires are started ahead of the fire, the way it's going, so that the fire burns out and it has nothing to consume. So these fires are strategically set to create a barrier between the approaching fire and the rest of it. So strategic fires are set in the grasses or in certain areas so that when the fire reaches it, it just burns itself out because there's nothing to feed it. Okay? So keep that in mind. Write that down. Okay? So to fight the fire with fire, right? And we're talking about the power of horse and the element of fire. It's about strategy. It's about not feeding it. Okay? So this thing consumes. That's all it does. It takes. And that's what it's used to doing. It's just used to taking. And it's kept people in a place of being afraid and being powerless. So it thinks. Powerless to fight it directly. And that's not how we do that. Okay? That we don't fight it. Now, see, some people use this idiom wrong. And it's about fighting fire with fire, which is same intensity, bashing the crap out of each other. Okay, That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about strategically starving the flame, starving it from oxygen, starving it from what feeds it. Okay, our fear feeds it. Our powerlessness feeds it. Our dependency on it feeds it. Okay, and so once we recognize that, then we can consciously choose to resist or start a fire that's going to starve it and it'll burn itself out. Okay, so that takes stealth, and that takes this higher spiritual perspective. So after a while, guys, I know how spirit works. I understand how the universe works. It's reciprocal, and it knows that if I'm doing the next right thing, that generates a ripple. Okay, so for instance, if I was going to make a significant change when I'm observing something, okay, so one of the things I noticed is that it has kept people afraid and in fear and using too many words, to bedazzle people and to confuse people and okay, so this is stealth. We stop talking, we listen. Remember? We listen with our guidance, we listen with our ears, and we pay attention to what we're saying. So once you understand they always say if you're hunting bears, you gotta think like a bear. Okay, so you gotta understand what's its motivation. What does it want? Okay, and then we can set boundaries to not giving it that. So then it doesn't know what to do with that. Okay, it's used to just bulldozing, right? Taking. It's like one of those things that just takes. And so when we come higher and we resist that by not feeding it, so what would feed those things? Well, in this case, it's power and money, and and it needs you. It needs you to comply, and our fear is the thing that makes us comply. So this is where, when we have this spiritual perspective, and you're in this light, the darkness cannot exist when you can stand confidently in that light, in that truth. Fear is a liar, and truth is freedom. Okay? And so when I trust the universe, I know that when I do the next right thing, or I don't participate, then that's one less person that's giving this power, feeding it. And so whether that's in our everyday personal life or whether that's in the world, okay, it's all operating in the same capacity. So whether that's a person or a situation or bigger things that are going on in our world, it can't exist if we stop contributing. So that could be contributing physically, financially, emotionally. And so when we stop contributing, you're not going to play the game anymore. And it can't exist. And then we can set boundaries, and we can then move forward with more inclusive, pulling those folks together that are getting that, so that we can, really affect change. So that's what I wanted to talk to you about tonight. So going higher gives us the vision of eagle. It gives us that connection to Great Spirit, because when you're down here running around on the earth with your hair on fire, you can't hear your divine guidance, okay? But when we become settled in ourself and we come to that higher place and we create that silence and that peace, then you start getting these good ideas. Then you start getting solutions. It manifests new opportunities that you couldn't see when you were down here. But when you're up here and your things are safe, you're safe, your people are safe, okay, when we put it higher, away from those things. And these are all metaphoric, guys. So when I talk about putting your things in a safe place, that's an untroubled heart. That's a peaceful mind. Okay, and giving our children and our people those same skills and tools so that we can work interdependently and effectively together. Okay, and so we become leaders when we do that, and it inspires other people. So for instance, this is why we talk about simplifying our life. How much do you need? How much stuff do you have to have? Why are we leaking money on things that we really aren't of use, whether it's something that might make things simpler, but we've also lost the ability to be self-aware and self-reliant. Learning how to garden or plant our own food or put up food, or how to save money, and again, we're kind of have been taught that these things that make things easier, this is really just constantly consuming. It breaks and you have to buy another one, and some things to be said for the old ways. So a lot of the videos have been leading up to this. But tonight, I want to talk about the power of horse and the power of eagle, which is rising above and being strategic, and how we use our energy looking for solutions. And again, fighting fire with fire actually means, when I know what its motive is, I can resist that. Okay? So if something is motivated by fear, then I'm not afraid. Okay? So I can stand in that, and it can go boo, and I'm going to be like, really? Right? I can't be affected by that. So I starve it out with my confidence, with my understanding. So then if, I know that it needs me to financially contribute to it. Okay? I'm not going to feed that. I will find other people or do it myself. Learn how to do it on my own, because that's one less person contributing to it. So again, this is the beauty of that. So when we have a session or we have coaching, this is kind of what we talk about. So your people are like, okay, Susie, what they're saying is, you've got this opportunity coming, but you're not really quite prepared. Okay. So what do we have to do in the human world to remove the blocks from this opportunity that's going to be presented to you, so you show up correct, that you come ready? Okay, that's valuable information, guys. Now inside you're like, oh my God, I've got this opportunity coming, or I've got this interview, or I got, and you just are coming from a place of fear. Okay, our people want us stepping into these because they're being presented to us because you're ready, you're worthy of that thing. But we do have to be prepared, but you can't hear that when you're all in your head. So having a session right now or coaching is a wonderful thing. Now, I also do these communications or workshops for teams and people in service industries, because all of these things are shifting. All of these things are changing, and we're developing new and better ways to do things. So we're working simpler. We're working together, inclusively. We're working at streamlining how we do what we do. Okay, and supporting each other as we're serving others in whatever capacity you might be in, be that medical or some service industry, or, and so it's about learning to pick and choose who has integrity, who am I aligning with, and so when you have that higher message from your ancestors, guides, and relatives, it's very empowering, because then you can feel them going with you, So I've got, one of my helpers, my very favorite guide, is this gigantic, comes to me as like this giant indigenous guy. So when I'm standing there in the face of something that's a little challenging, okay, I can feel that presence behind me. I can feel that standing behind me, kind of like, and, this giant power that is, got my back. And so, but I also trust myself, because I've done this 1,000 times. I know what these people are made. They're all cut from the same fabric, guys. So whether it's the bully in the playground or the bully in the corporate boardroom, okay, they're still cut from the same fabric. They're both insecure. They're both, demanding power or something, and they look for people that they can do that to, who are willing to comply. So we can choose not to contribute, not to comply. Okay, but people are afraid to say, no, I will not do that, or walk away. Because that's, and I'm not saying quit your job, but, there are strategic ways to resist and to stand in your truth, so that, you manifest new and better things. So that's what I have tonight. And I'm very excited for the future. But we can't do this alone. And now that we're seeing these truths, okay, now we have to fight fire with fire. And we need to be strategic about how we navigate with that and resist that, okay? Because, again, the light is more powerful. And once the light comes on the darkness, it evaporates. It can't exist in the light because nobody's buying the bullshit anymore. That's the best part. But now what do? How do we bring everybody back together? How do we create the healing from this damage that's been done? So like I said, this is why the work I do, I work with in situations where people have been hurt or wounded through some kind of traumatic thing, a physical thing, an emotional thing, or a spiritual thing. And so how do we help build them up so that we can generate a holistic healing? And that's what we're doing in our world, okay? We're all healers. We all have this ability. But, again, I'm here to give you the tools so that you know how to navigate out there. So I'm so grateful for you guys tonight. Hey, Angela and Debbie, Margaret, Mary, good to see you guys. Thank you so much. Chris, Jennifer, all of you guys. So again, guys, the bully is weak. The bully's full of shit. But the challenge is by the time we figure it out, quite often it's put us in a place of feeling dependent or weak, okay? So we're here to all kind of show up and shore each other up and get you on your feet so that we can all set a boundary to this thing and then start bringing people home. Our world needs healing. This has been a lot of things, and but you know what? The time is up, and now we're in the time of Fire Horse, and this great awakening in our world is powerful, and we came here to do this. So I'm excited. I've been on this mission a long time, and I know so many of you have shaken off a lot of these things in your own life. So now how do we come together and start healing the world? Putting our hand out and helping somebody else up, and that's what we're doing. So this is the time for it. So go higher, okay? Observe what's going on, and how can we use our guidance to find better solutions for what's going on. And so faith is a very powerful force, because I know what I know, okay? And I have faith that something bigger than me is helping, okay? But this is human created, and we've got to uncreate it. And that's the hard part. So again, there are, leaders, true leaders, people going first. So pay attention for those. But, count me in. I know the way. I can show you or give you a map and show you the direction to go, and how to trust that inner knowing better. So thanks so much for everything tonight. I hope you guys all have a wonderful evening, and keep the peace. Pray for our world, but more importantly, let's get together and let's just shine, right? My glitter flinging little unicorns. So we've got fuckery to spread. That's what we're doing. Resist. It's all good. You guys rock. Thanks for joining me tonight.